All right. Well, according to the New York City Health Department, the number of people with monkeypox has doubled in just 1 week as the city urgently awaits thousands more doses of a vaccine. One of the first Americans to be infected is now speaking out.
So my name's Matt. I have monkeypox. It sucks and you don't want it. For context, monkeypox has been around for a few decades. It's in the same family as smallpox, but recently there was an outbreak in the UK and in Europe, and now more recently in the US. In a lot of major cities, it's starting to explode. As of now, it seems to be primarily...
So Matt Ford shared his experience on social media, and his post went viral. So far, 111 people in New York City have tested positive for the disease. Matt Ford is actually joining us this morning all the way from LA. Getting very early to talk to us about this. Matt, thanks so much for chatting with us.
Sure. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, that's like a very big deal to get on social media, expose this very personal part of your life. It's a heavy burden to bear, but you did it. What were the responses like from it? And were you scared to do that at first?
I was a little bit on the fence at first because, there is potential for stigma and, it is the internet. But I was very pleasantly surprised. The majority of the responses were overwhelmingly positive, and a lot of people sending me well wishes and thanking me for, educating people. So I was very grateful for that.
And Matt, can you talk to us a little bit about the nature of your symptoms? A lot of people sort of very curious about how easily transmissible this is as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I believe I got it through skin-to-skin contact. I think that and, respiratory droplets seems to be the main way it is spreading, according to the info I've seen and through the CDC. For me, it was pretty intense flu-like symptoms in the beginning with a few lesions. And then as those flu-like symptoms abated, more and more lesions popped up on my skin, some of which were quite painful. And in total, I counted more than 25.
Are we talking weeks for this to sort of fully subside, days? I mean, when you mentioned some of the markings there?
We are talking weeks. Thankfully, I'm on the tail end of it now, so I'm not in pain or anything anymore. But yeah, the CDC says it can take 2 to 4 weeks, and that seems to be what we're seeing.
I know you may have a slight gripe with the CDC, though, because I feel like maybe they weren't as active in kind of getting information out to people in terms of helping them diagnose themselves in terms of this. So what are you thinking the CDC needs to do just to better help this situation?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's partially a systemic issue, right? I mean, I think it goes beyond the CDC. I know a lot of media reports said that I was slamming them. I think it was more so just frustration that, a lot of medical professionals didn't seem to be educated on the monkeypox outbreak when people who had it were going in trying to get tested. I know even now there's a huge shortage in supply of the vaccines and in testing capabilities. I've had friends who have gone in and thought they had it, tried to get tested and weren't able to. So yeah, I can't pretend to know the solution in the inner workings of the CDC and the medical system, but I know that something needs to change so that more vaccines are available ASAP and that more tests are readily available as soon as possible.
But Matt, we're coming right off. I mean, we're still pretty much in it. We're talking about the rise in COVID cases that are happening across the country. But we've just sort of come out of the worst of having to find tests and getting vaccines and distribution and the criticism that came with the lack of testing earlier. Were you surprised that as this virus began to spread and become news that there were all these complications with trying to get tests, given what we've just been through?
Yes and no. I mean, yes, it's frustrating to see history repeat itself so soon, right? That was like 2 years ago or less. But at the same time, I mean, for that very reason, we're just coming off another huge epidemic. So it doesn't surprise me totally that resources might be a little scrapped or people are focused on other things. But yes, it was definitely still frustrating.
Do you think that this is going to continue to be an issue? You know how easily it can spread. I think a lot of people are sort of looking at this. They see it in the background. But do you think this has the possibility of lingering for a long time, staying around and sort of becoming a bigger problem than it is right now?
It's impossible to speak long term to the future. I really hope not. I do think in the more immediate future, it is going to be more spread than it currently is, mainly due to the fact that, according to my doctor and a recent NPR article, and a lot of what I'm hearing is that a lot of cases are being underreported right now. I think a lot more people have it than the CDC is even aware of. And a lot of people are quiet when they have it due to shame and stigma, right? Not that many people are going public about it. So in that situation, it spreads easier. And so I am a bit concerned for the immediate future.
Yeah, which is something that you did in terms of being public about it. And that's helping alleviate the fact that it should not be stigmatized. Any advice for just people watching? It doesn't matter what sexual orientation you are, but in terms of just moving forward and being aware of this, any advice you want to give?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say get vaccinated for it as soon as possible, as soon as there's more supply, which I know the Biden administration is working on right now. Definitely get vaccinated. I would say be cautious of who you have close skin-to-skin contact with or in close proximity to, if there's someone who could potentially have it.
Yeah.
And lastly, I'm just saying for anyone who thinks they've been exposed or might come down with it, remember that it is a temporary condition and there's no reason for any shame or stigma.
And Mike, I'm sorry, we got to go here. Matt, we got to go real quick. Just very quickly, people who you've talked to, are they finding that they can actually get a vaccine, or is there a wait list? Just quickly, if you could answer that.
It's been pretty tough. Usually you have to be exposed. It's a tough line to get in.
Yeah. All right, Matt Ford, well, we appreciate you being so brave and to be able to, speak about this publicly, and for joining us this morning. I know it was early, so we'll let you get back to bed and get some extra sleep.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.